come and apologize publicly. See, with somebody like LeBron, you ain't get no apology. I'm too little.
That was the last interaction he had with Steven, but this new footage has the entire sports world in absolute chaos. We're not talking about some Twitter beef or subtle shade thrown during interviews. This is raw, unfiltered footage of the king himself getting physical with one of ESPN's biggest personalities right there courtside at a Lakers game. The video is spreading like wildfire across every platform, and what you're about to see will completely change how you view both of these titans forever. Let's break down exactly what went down and why this moment represents the boiling point of years of tension that nobody saw coming. During what should have been a routine Lakers versus Knicks matchup at Crypto.com Arena, LeBron James was on the bench during the third quarter when something caught his eye that made his blood boil. There, sitting courtside with entertainment mogul Ari Emanuel and comedy legend Larry David, was Stephen A. Smith, the same man who had been taking shots at his family for months. What happened next was absolutely incendiary. Security cameras and fan footage captured LeBron rising from the bench, his jaw clenched, eyes locked on Stephen A. like a predator spotting prey. This wasn't the calculated, media-savvy LeBron we're used to seeing. This was a father who had reached his breaking point. The leaked footage shows LeBron walking directly towards Stephen A.'s courtside seat, completely ignoring the fact that his team was down to the Knicks and desperately needed his leadership. As he approached, you can see Stephen A.'s body language shift from relaxed to visibly uncomfortable. The ESPN personality knew exactly what was coming. "I don't care, bro. Keep my son out of this, bro," LeBron can be heard saying in the enhanced audio that surfaced hours after the initial video went viral. But according to multiple lip-reading experts who analyzed the footage, those weren't the only words exchanged. The conversation got heated fast, with LeBron pointing directly at Stephen A. while delivering what witnesses described as an absolutely devastating verbal assault. But here's where things get really wild, and this is what nobody realized until the extended footage leaked. LeBron didn't just confront Stephen A. with words. Multiple angles show what appears to be physical contact, with LeBron's hand making contact with Stephen A.'s shoulder in what some are calling a warning tap, and others are describing as an outright smack. The impact was enough to make Stephen A. visibly recoil and look around nervously for security. To understand why this confrontation reached such explosive levels, you have to go back to the beginning of what has been a slow-burning feud that most fans never fully recognized. Stephen A. Smith has been covering LeBron James since he entered the NBA as an 18-year-old phenom, and over nearly 2 decades, their relationship has deteriorated from professional respect to barely concealed animosity. The roots of this conflict trace back to Stephen A.'s relentless criticism of LeBron's biggest career moments. After the 2011 Finals loss to Dallas, Stephen A. was among the harshest critics, questioning LeBron's killer instinct and suggesting he lacked the mental toughness to be considered among the all-time greats. When LeBron took his talents to South Beach, Stephen A. called it the most cowardly move in sports history on live television. But the real damage came during LeBron's second stint in Cleveland. Stephen A. consistently accused LeBron of being too passive in clutch moments, of wanting control over organizations, and of building narratives around himself rather than just playing basketball. These weren't just casual takes, they were systematic character assassinations delivered to millions of viewers on ESPN's biggest platforms. LeBron, who pays attention to every piece of media coverage about him, began responding indirectly over the years. His social media became a battlefield of subtle shots that many fans believed were aimed directly at Stephen A. Tweets like, "Y'all sports analysts don't know basketball like you think," and his famous narratives posts after particularly harsh ESPN segments became his way of fighting back without giving Stephen A. the satisfaction of a direct response. The tension escalated when Stephen A. began questioning LeBron's legacy compared to Michael Jordan. During the 2020 playoffs, Stephen A. went on a legendary rant where he said, "LeBron will never be Jordan because he doesn't have that cold-blooded killer mentality. Jordan would never let his teammates down the way LeBron has." The segment went viral, and LeBron's response was swift and brutal. A series of Instagram posts showcasing his finals performances with the caption, "Some people just don't get it." According to sources close to both camps, the breaking point came when Stephen A. started targeting LeBron's family. First, it was subtle comments about Savannah James and her influence on LeBron's career decisions. Then came the shots at LeBron's business ventures, with Stephen A. suggesting that LeBron was more focused on being a mogul than being the best basketball player possible. But the nuclear option was when Stephen A. set his sights on Bronny James. The moment Stephen A. Smith decided to make Bronny James a regular topic of discussion was the moment this feud transformed from professional criticism to personal warfare. Starting in early 2024, Stephen A. began making increasingly harsh comments about Bronny's NBA prospects, and his language became more pointed with each segment. Bronny James is not his father, Stephen A. declared during a February 2024 episode of First Take. The media hype around this kid is completely disproportionate to his actual skill level. He's a decent college player who's getting treated like the second coming of basketball royalty because of his last name. The comments escalated from there. Stephen A. suggested that Bronny isn't a guaranteed star and that the pressure being put on this young man by his father's expectations is setting him up for failure. But the line was crossed when Stephen A. made it personal, questioning LeBron's parenting and suggesting that LeBron was living vicariously through his son instead of letting Bronny develop naturally. LeBron's response was swift and unprecedented. For the first time in years, he directly addressed Stephen A. on social media. "Keep my kid's name out of your mouth, period." The tweet garnered over 2 million likes in 6 hours and sent shockwaves through the sports media landscape. But Stephen A. didn't back down. Instead, he doubled down during the next day's show, saying, "LeBron James can tweet all he wants, but the facts are the facts. Bronny James is getting opportunities that other players with his skill set would never receive, and that's because of nepotism, not talent." According to multiple sources within ESPN, LeBron's representatives reached out to the network demanding an apology. When none came, LeBron began planning his response. What nobody expected was that it would be delivered in person, on live television, in front of 20,000 fans and millions of viewers. The moment the first clips of the confrontation hit social media, the internet absolutely exploded. Within 30 minutes of the initial footage being posted, hashtag LeBron v Stephen A. was trending worldwide on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. The video racked up over 10 million views across all platforms in the first hour alone. But what really sent the internet into overdrive was when the enhanced footage surfaced, showing what appeared to be physical contact. Sports analysts, former players, and fans began picking sides immediately. Shannon Sharp, Stephen A.'s former debate partner, posted a cryptic message. "Sometimes you gotta check people in person. Social media ain't always enough." Charles Barkley, never one to shy away from controversy, went on TNT and delivered his take. Stephen A. got what he deserved. You can criticize a man's game all you want, but when you start talking about his kids, you better be ready for the consequences. LeBron showed restraint. "I would have done worse." The memes started flowing immediately. TikTok users created countless videos reenacting the confrontation, with some going viral for their spot-on impressions of both LeBron's intensity and Stephen A.'s obvious discomfort. The phrase, "keep my son out of this," became an instant meme template, applied to everything from sports debates to family arguments. But the most telling reaction came from current and former NBA players. Kevin Durant, who has his own complicated history with media criticism, posted a simple message: respect. Draymond Green, never one to hold back, was more direct. Media think they can say whatever they want with no consequences. LeBron just reminded them that ain't always the case. The immediate aftermath of the confrontation was pure chaos. ESPN executives went into full crisis mode, with emergency meetings called to discuss how to handle the situation. Stephen A. was reportedly shaken by the encounter and initially refused to address it publicly. LeBron, meanwhile, seemed completely unbothered. He returned to the bench, helped lead the Lakers to an overtime victory, and delivered a dominant performance that reminded everyone why he's still one of the best players in the world. His post-game interview was masterful in its restraint. He acknowledged the confrontation without apologizing for it. "I'm always going to protect my family," LeBron said when asked about the incident. "That's not negotiable. I don't care who you are or what platform you have. When you cross that line, there will be consequences." The NBA was forced to address the situation, with Commissioner Adam Silver releasing a statement calling for professionalism from all parties involved, while stopping short of announcing any disciplinary action. Sources within the league office suggested that the NBA was reluctant to punish LeBron for what many viewed as justified parental protection. Stephen A's response, when it finally came, was telling in its tone. Gone was the bombastic confidence that had defined his career. Instead, he appeared subdued, almost apologetic, as he addressed the confrontation on First Take the following day. "That wasn't a basketball player confronting me," Stephen A said, his voice noticeably quieter than usual. "That was a parent, that was a father, and I can't sit here and be angry or feel slighted by LeBron James in any way in that regard." The statement was seen by many as a complete capitulation, a far cry from the Stephen A who had built his career on never backing down from anyone. What happened between LeBron and Stephen A represents more than just a personal feud. It's a seismic shift in the relationship between athletes and media that could have lasting implications for sports journalism. For years, sports media personalities have operated under the assumption that they could say virtually anything about athletes without facing real consequences. The worst that might happen would be losing access or getting called out on social media. But LeBron's willingness to physically confront Stephen A in such a public setting has changed that calculus entirely. Other athletes are already taking notice. Several NBA players have posted messages supporting LeBron's actions, with many suggesting that media personalities need to be more careful about crossing personal lines. The message is clear. The days of consequence-free criticism might be coming to an end. The incident has also sparked a broader conversation about the role of family in sports coverage. While most agree that athletes' professional performance is fair game for criticism, there's growing debate about whether family members, especially children, should be off limits. Sports journalism ethics experts are divided on the issue. Some argue that Bronny James, as a public figure who chose to pursue basketball, is fair game for professional criticism. Others contend that the level of scrutiny he faces is unprecedented and potentially harmful to his development as both a player and a person. Perhaps the most serious aspect of this entire situation is the potential legal ramifications. While the footage is somewhat unclear about the exact nature of the physical contact, several legal experts have weighed in on whether LeBron could face charges for assault. Criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos, who has represented numerous high-profile clients, analyzed the footage and concluded that while the contact appears minimal, it could technically constitute assault under California law. The question isn't whether significant harm was done, Garagos explained. It's whether there was intentional, unwanted physical contact. From what I can see in the video, that threshold might have been met. However, other legal experts point out that Stephen A would need to press charges for any prosecution to move forward, and given his subdued response to the incident, that seems unlikely. Additionally, LeBron's legal team would likely argue that any contact was incidental, or that Stephen A's provocative comments about his family constituted provocation. The Lakers organization has remained largely silent on the legal aspects of the situation, but sources suggest they've retained top legal counsel to advise LeBron on potential consequences. The NBA Players Association has also reportedly reached out to offer support, viewing the incident as part of a broader pattern of media overreach that affects all players. As LeBron James approaches the twilight of his career, this confrontation adds a complex new chapter to his legacy. On one hand, it reinforces his image as a devoted father willing to do anything to protect his family. On the other hand, it raises questions about his temperament and judgment in high-pressure situations. Sports historians are already debating how this incident will be remembered. Some compare it to other legendary athlete media confrontations like Allen Iverson's practice rant or Marshawn Lynch's "I'm just here so I won't get fined" press conferences. Others see it as something entirely different, a watershed moment that could fundamentally change how athletes and media interact. What's undeniable is that LeBron's willingness to risk his reputation and potentially face legal consequences to defend his son has resonated with fans and fellow athletes alike. The incident has humanized him in a way that his carefully crafted public image never could, showing a raw, emotional side that many had never seen before. The The confrontation has also sparked renewed discussion about LeBron's place in basketball history. While his on-court achievements speak for themselves, this incident adds a new dimension to his legacy, that of a man who refused to let anyone disrespect his family, regardless of the consequences. As the dust settles from this explosive confrontation, the question remains, where do LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith go from here? The relationship between these two titans of their respective fields has been irreparably damaged, and the implications could extend far beyond their personal animosity. For Stephen A., the incident represents a significant blow to his credibility and authority. His subdued response has been interpreted by many as weakness, and his future criticism of LeBron will inevitably be viewed through the lens of this confrontation. Some media insiders suggest that ESPN may quietly discourage Stephen A. from covering LeBron-related stories to avoid further incidents. LeBron, meanwhile, has sent a clear message to the entire sports media landscape. There are lines that cannot be crossed without consequences. His willingness to risk everything to defend his family has established new boundaries that other media personalities will have to respect. The incident has also raised questions about the future of sports journalism itself. As athletes become more powerful and media savvy, the traditional dynamic between reporters and subjects is evolving. This confrontation may be remembered as the moment when that evolution reached a tipping point. What's certain is that this story is far from over. With legal implications still unclear, ongoing investigations into the incident, and the potential for further confrontations, the LeBron-Stephen A. saga continues to captivate the sports world. The leaked footage that started it all has become more than just a viral moment. It's a defining incident that will be analyzed and debated for years to come. The king has spoken, and the message is clear. When it comes to family, LeBron James will always be ready to fight. Whether that fight happens on the court, in the media, or face-to-face in front of 20,000 fans, one thing is certain: nobody disrespects the James family without facing the consequences.